But let's, of course, start with what is happening in South Africa, where it's a big day for South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma. Now, the country's top court is hearing a case on Zuma's electoral eligibility. A verdict on whether he'll be able to contest elections or not is expected any moment. With elections just a few weeks away, South Africa's Constitutional Court is deciding an appeal against Jacob Zuma's eligibility to contest the elections that will take place on the 29th of May. The court is hearing the appeal that's been filed by South Africa's poll body after a lower court had given Jacob Zuma a clean chit. Now, in its appeal, the Independent Electoral Commission had argued that Zuma should be barred from the race because of a 2021 contempt of court conviction. Now, the 82-year-old Jacob Zuma, the former leader of the ANC, is fronting the newly formed MK party. And this party can potentially spoil the chances for Cyril Ramaphosa and the ruling ANC, according to the party's vote share. Now, the ex-president's image has been tainted by charges of serious corruption and mismanagement scandals in South Africa's post-apartheid history. So this, of course, is a big moment in South Africa's electoral politics. Jacob Zuma is a man who's been a part of the ANC. He's been the president twice from the ANC party, but he's now turned his back on the ANC party. And the question, of course, is this: will he now be the reason why ANC may not get a complete majority within the South African Parliament? Now, to tell us more about what is happening at this moment, we're being joined by Mr. Nathan Paul, and he's a columnist who specializes in African politics. Now, Mr. Paul, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on this broadcast on WION. Jacob Zuma, the 82-year-old politician, is someone who's described as a man with 9 political lives in South African politics. Every time he goes down because of a conviction or the corruption scandal that he's involved in, he's managed to bounce back. And today, of course, the Constitutional Court is hearing this key appeal case, whether he can contest on the 29th of May or not. What do you think is likely to play out? Why does Jacob Zuma remain to be such a relevant character in South African politics?
It does seem to be a bit of a mystery why Jacob Zuma, even in his early 80s, is still such a formidable figure, not just in South Africa, but throughout sub-Saharan African politics. He has this enormous presence and an enormous support despite years of horrendous corruption allegations. And I think there's 2 parts for why that popularity remains. And one is like many other strongman dictators, like he has a very good ability, very good charisma. He brings people on site. And within all of those corruption allegations, there were a lot of people, a lot of mining companies, a lot of arms companies, and a lot of local businesses and a lot of local politicians who were making an enormous amount of money out of the billions that Zuma was pillaging from the rest of the country. And he's done a very good job of using the racial polarization in South Africa to position himself as still a bit of a freedom fighter, still be associated with the anti-apartheid cause. Those early days of the ANC still has some of that legacy of Mandela supporting him. So some black South Africans, and particularly kind of rural areas as well, associate him with progress for their people, more rights, more opportunities, and don't quite make that association that his activities have actually led to the great blackouts across the country, the economic downturn, and the actual lack of opportunity that's facing so many South Africans today.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Nathan Paul, for joining us and getting us that perspective there. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.